So this is the first time I'm doing this type of video, and I need you guys to let me know if this is even a thing you'd like to watch as part of the channel, but it might be kind of interesting. So basically I've got this Kyosho Super Alta, and it was made originally in the 80s, somewhere around the early or mid 80s. I forget exactly which year, but it's not like their typical race type cars like the Plasma was. It's more of like, you know, just kind of a fun car type of RC. So it does kind of have some of its shortcomings, but despite that, you know, I always wanted to get one, and I had made a post a couple of weeks ago where I was saying how I wanted to, I've been looking for one of these cars, and I ended up finding you know, this particular one that was actually in really good condition. It's fairly clean. There's no scratches on the bottom of it. It's almost like it really never was run that much, if at all. So I wanted to kind of, you know, do some upgrades to it, basically. I wanted to kind of modify it in the Tonic RC type of way. So there's a couple of quirks with this car, and I don't know that I really want to say it's a quirk, but it was just kind of the design back in the day, also to kind of keep costs low and whatnot. But, you know, there's no bushings in this thing at all. So like even in this rear axle, everything's like basically rubbing on aluminum to plastic type of thing. So it's very basic. Same up front. There's no bearings anywhere. If I actually take off one of the wheels here, and you can see that the wheel, there's no bearings in it. It's pretty much just kind of as is. And the kingpin, the spindle here, the wheel just basically rests on that wheel. So like there's no bushings, there's no bearings, there's really nothing. It's just kind of, that's it. So really, you know, when you tighten this thing up, it's one of those deals where you can't tighten it too much, because if you do, it's gonna make the wheel not spin. So you kind of intentionally have to loosen that nut a little bit. So I kind of want to change a few things to this car just to kind of upgrade it. I don't want to get too crazy because, you know, I don't really want to lose the spirit of the car. But I think what I'd like to do is I think I might be able to get some Kyosho Plasma parts to work on this. I don't know 100%, but I think like with these steering arms, I think I might be able to get away with using Plasma steering arms. Maybe not, but it might be worth a shot. That way I can at least use ball bearings, and even though I would have to use the Plasma wheels, it would still be better than using these, which obviously, like I said, don't incorporate any type of bearing system at all. And that would also allow me to make a little bit better steering linkage. You know what, I'm going to put this wheel back on, because one of the other things I wanted to kind of show was how much slop there actually is in the steering system. And I hate to say it, but it might be one of like the actually like the worst steering systems I may have seen, only because it'll never drive like truly center. So like you can see like how much play there is there. So, you know, if you turn it one direction and then let go, and then if you turn it the other direction and let go, it's never gonna stay straight. And a lot of it has to kind of do with like this servo saver system that they have, and it's kind of like there's a lot going on there. And I just feel like if I simply turn the servo 90 degrees and have it more like a traditional RC. So this is my team associated car. This is actually my race car I've had for a pretty long time. And, you know, obviously this is a much simpler design, but it also eliminates like all that slop. It'll always recenter itself correctly. So I basically want to kind of incorporate this same kind of design. Use this size servo instead of like, you know, the old school normal size one. And again, just reposition it 90 degrees. I'll probably fabricate a plate to do that. So that would eliminate all of this stuff going on here. But yeah, this is pretty bad. Like, I don't know. I didn't want to go too crazy on the front end. Like, I want to keep the suspension the way it is, even though it's not like the greatest type of suspension, because as the force goes down and the suspension goes in, obviously you're getting a bunch of negative camber in there. Not ideal, but I'm also not really going to race this car or anything. You know, I might throw it on the carpet track just for fun, like on a practice day or something like that, but I'm not going to be racing with it. So I'm not really too concerned of like how performance oriented this thing's going to be. But at the same time, I at least want it to run well. I want it to stay centered, just to make the overall experience a little bit more pleasurable than just kind of having to fight it. So that's what I'm going to do with the front end. So for the rear end, this is what's kind of interesting. When I first got this, I thought, oh, okay, like, you know, there's a little bit of play there for the rear suspension. Well, in actuality, at least from how I can see it and from what I understand about this car, is that it doesn't seem like there's actually any rear suspension. What that play is basically this whole rear end unit with the axle and the motor. They're kind of like one unit, and they're held in essentially to the frame. And it's basically like they're slotted into the frame. This black plastic piece here holds that whole section in with the motor, the axle, that whole section. And it's actually not even supposed to, at least I don't think it's supposed to have that kind of play right there. So what I might do is use the existing holes and the stuff that's in there and kind of refabricate maybe like a whole new rear end system so that I could incorporate like intentional play, but that play would actually go off of an axis point or an axis point. That's what I thought this bar was. I thought this was to pivot that rear end, but really it's just a bar to keep the chassis rails in place. So I might do something there to properly pivot this, and then with these holes up here, create just a little bit of a shock spring system, so that there's obviously some resistance in it, so that it's not just playing like that. And because I'm actually going to possibly fabricate something, I might want to use a plasma rear axle system on this. I would use this one, but again, like it just, without having the bearings in there, I don't know. It's aluminum rubbing on plastic, like I said. So it's just, I don't know. It's not like super ideal, but I don't know. You know, again, I don't want to go too far off the path with this thing. Like I want to stay somewhat in the spirit of this car. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just reinforce this so that the slop doesn't happen, and just kind of go from there. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still kind of brainstorming this car. Okay, so here's the plasma box that I have with some of the parts, and I'll just take some of these things out now. So I don't know, this might work, it might not, I don't know, we'll see if so that's the part right there. Here's bag C with the rear axle stuff. So I would use like the whole rear axle assembly to possibly make that work as well. I'm not going to use the parts from this plasma. I'm actually just going to buy the specific parts I need, the front steering parts and then the rear axle parts. I'm not going to use it from this plasma because I have a lot of plans for this plasma. It's going to look completely different than a plasma. But that is all I will say about the plasma. I'm not trying to turn this car into a plasma, but I think some of the parts from the plasma might be beneficial to make this a little bit more enjoyable without losing the spirit of this car itself. Now, I know some people are not going to like this. I am going to take out this mechanical speed controller. Obviously, this servo I'm not going to keep anymore. I'm going to use my Radio Link stuff because it has those microscopic receivers like I've shown in my other videos. Those things are awesome. And that'll obviously also eliminate this second servo for the mechanical speed controller. So a lot of this bulk is actually going to be removed. And you know, I know a lot of people like to keep the mechanical speed controllers in there, and it does look cool. I will give it that. But I have to say, like back in the day when I was racing like my team associated 12i and then a 12L, all those kinds of things, even like my Monster Beetle and stuff, my Tamiya Monster Beetle, I always was like trying to get away from the mechanical speed controller stuff and really trying to gravitate towards the electronic speed control back in the day, at least when they became viable and affordable. The problem really with this system, this mechanical, at least with this particular one, is that it's 1 speed forward and 1 speed reverse. And I don't know, that just kind of loses the fun that way. It feels a little bit more towards like toy grade as opposed to hobby grade. So I don't know, I want to have fun with this thing. So I'm gonna take out the mechanical speed controller. I'm gonna put in an electronic one. It's not gonna be a crazy one. I'm probably just gonna do a non-censored one, pretty basic. But that'll at least give me some variable throttle, both on forward and reverse. And that'll just kind of clean things up a little bit. That'll also allow me a little bit of space in here about that suspension I was talking about, if I want to even go that route with the suspension. One of the interesting things I found was the space, this kind of square slot for what used to take the old batteries from the past. You know, I tested one of my shorty packs that I actually use for racing. I actually use this battery in my Beast 7. It's one of my Gen 8 batteries, and it's a 6000. And funny enough, this 6000 fits perfectly in here, and I can situate it, orient it any which direction I want. So I could have the pins come out this side or the other side. But I mean, like, how cool is that? Like, it fits perfectly. I'll probably fabricate something to kind of hold this in, like on the sides. Like, it just clips in here. So like with the old battery, you would pinch that clip, and it's kind of hard to do it, but it flaps open like that, and it would help you take the battery out. But I don't know, I might just kind of create something where this plate just kind of stays in place, and then just have like some side things to keep the battery from sliding out left or right. So anyway, I thought that was really cool. I mean, man, it's like a perfect fit. I'm probably, well, I shouldn't say probably, knowing me, because I love doing this kind of stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fabricate some parts, like probably like a rear diffuser of some kind, maybe a little bit bigger, like a little splitter in the front, some side skirts, whatever. And I'm trying to decide, you know, what body I want to do. I think I'm going to 3D print a body for this one, because it is 1/12 scale. It's not super huge or anything. So it should be fairly straightforward to print something. I was kind of thinking maybe like, I don't know, like maybe like an old Rally R5, something kind of crazy, and just kind of go to town with it. I probably won't model it from scratch. I will probably find an existing 3D model of a car and then essentially modify it, add to it, that sort of stuff. Make the geometry work for this wheelbase and the body posts. Probably do a magnetic system like you saw me build in the Honda City Turbo that you saw in the other video, the Sen edition that I made. I'll probably do like a magnetic system for that. This rear end's probably going to change quite a bit. This post here was for the original body that it came with. It was like an F1 style body, but it was kind of messed up when I bought it. And I hadn't really intended to use that body anyway, so I'll probably get rid of that. But that's kind of it. So like, that's kind of the plan. No details yet on the exact body, obviously, and the mods I'll put on it. But let me know. I'm really curious if like this type of video, just kind of what my ideas are for a future car build modification type of thing that I kind of have planned, and if you dig it. So let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it. If I don't really get a lot of comments on it, then I might not do these types of videos. I don't know yet. The whole intention when I started this channel was I was only going to have like build videos, but I don't know. I think this is kind of interesting to maybe do some of these. And but again, it's really up to you guys to let me know whether or not it's even something that's cool to watch or kind of boring or whatever. So anyway, thanks.